And I would never believed that line before. My first online coach told me, there's a system where you can go Facebook to give you so many leads that you'll have to turn it off because you have too many. It's like, I'm like, what kind of bull
Yeah.
crap is that? Is he talking about? There's no such thing. And then following how you set it up and everything, I was like, wow, this is true. I can't
That
keep getting more leads. I can't get in touch with them fast enough.
I can't even stress how much that makes me happy to hear. We have Delisina in the house. Give her a hand. Welcome to the 10K club. I'm super excited to have you here because I know you had some we've had some challenges, but you got here, and that's all that matters. So you secured a 63K contract off the bat.
Yes.
That's incredible. Let's talk about we'll talk about that, but what was the initial problem that you were having in your business that drove you to joining Clients Automation? What was that first step for you?
Um, it was the fact that I knew I was charging way too little for the type of service I was providing, and I was afraid to charge more. So I didn't have that confidence, but I knew there's only one way I can do things, unfortunately, and that's 100% all the way through. So even if a client says, well, I just want you to teach me how to do this one lat pull down, I'm going to go into biometrics and how the muscles are going to work and what you should eat to make it better. So that's just me. And so the thought of reducing what I provide just wasn't an option for me. And I
Why?
needed to
No, you
upgrade
go.
that.
Go on. You go. You go.
No, and then because I switched from face to face to online coaching 3 years ago, I knew that was going to be the future for me because of my physical limitations. And wouldn't you know, COVID also.
Nice. So look, why do you think people, charge low? Because the majority seem to think it's an easier option to, put a course together or charge a low price point. Was it just because you saw other people in the market, or was it you saw other large influencers doing it? Because I'm just always curious at why, because it makes total sense from my perspective to charge a higher amount, offer personalization, build that asset with them, increase the amount of client testimonials, validate at that level. And then as you start to create more assets within your business, I mean, these are still very early stages, like we haven't fully automated, and it's normal part of the process. But once you start building assets off the back of that, it's much easier to sell digital assets once you've got validation at the front end. So I'm just always curious to, do you remember why you like it? Is it because other people told you, or is it because you thought that was
No, it
market?
was, I literally did not see anyone else charging more
Mm,
for personal training and coaching in my area. And not till I joined Clubhouse and started hearing about other coaches charging more, then I started to realize, well, heck, I was wanted to charge more, but not even close to what I had heard other people charging. And then when I heard you talk on the Clubhouse, I realized I need to do this because I'm going to drive myself crazy
mm.
into the poorhouse.
Yeah, I mean, and so look, I really sympathize with a lot of people out there, because I think, even now off the back of COVID, the majority go to like Udemy, want a, low price, course, and that's where the majority start. And it feels counterintuitive to go the other way, but when you actually think about it, it's totally logical. You're offering a premium service, you're offering personalization. 95% of people buy a book today and then they don't use it. And so, the majority of people buy stuff and don't use it. And so when you're offering personalization, you're able to deliver a greater result. Thus, you're able to charge more. Thus, you're able to get
Mm-hmm.
cash flow in, and thus you become a stabler business quicker. So look, I appreciate that. What do you think so far that you've enjoyed the most about going through clients automation? Is it the methodology? Is it the support? Sometimes people say the closer process. What for you has been the biggest game changer?
It's the methodology. It's a step-by-step process that if you
People always hear
follow.
that, Delisina. It's step by step. Like people
But it
hear,
really
but it,
is.
I know.
It's basic. you've simplified it and you've given all the details necessary. You haven't just given an outline and then let the user have to figure out how to fill in the meat of it.
Mm.
And
So
then of course the one-to-one consultations are amazing because you learn just by listening.
the group ones or the individual ones?
The group ones.
Okay, cool. What was there anything specifically that you like, the most in terms of support structure when people say like the live support versus group support versus the one-to-one support?
I like the group support because half the time when I'm thinking of a question, someone else has asked it.
Mm.
And you realize you're not the only one with that dumb question.
It's not a dumb question. It's not. There's no such thing as a dumb question. The only question that is dumb is to not answer the question.
Yeah.
I promise you that. So look, with your current offer, but how does it feel to put 63K offer in? I mean, from where you were to where you are now.
It's crazy because I wouldn't even have imagined I could do something like that. In the back of my mind, my goal for 10, 20 years, I wanted to work with businesses, with small businesses, corporations, and do wellness for them. That's where I started my training actually, for small cities. And then when I went on my own, I said, I want to go back into doing it for corporations, but I don't know how I'm going to get this chance. And surprisingly, the CEO of this hospital is in my Rotary Club, and he's been wanting me to come and work there. And I kept telling him, no, I don't want to work for anybody. I have my own business. No, I don't want to work for anybody. I have my own business. And then he told me, well, we desperately need a wellness program. And, our nurses are worn down and we have nothing going on. And you have all the qualifications, could you do a wellness program for us? And I thought about it and I thought, man, that's pretty massive. It's 1,200 people. And how am I going to do this? But then I looked at the description of the things they were looking for and what they wanted. And it's basically what I do, but just on a larger scale.
Mm.
So I said yes. The only problem is that I want, I wanted them to make a contract for me, and they said that they couldn't do uh, a contract as a contractor because it was going to have a lot more red tape, and they wouldn't be able to get me started right away this year. I said, okay, fine. So I'll come on board for 9 months, create the program, which I is a win-win for me
Mm.
because I get to create the program. I get to see the results. I get to use the statistics and I get
And
to
get paid.
build it.
do do you think, like, because obviously that's something that I strongly condition, and sometimes people have really, over the years, have, when I've explained that outside of the program in different sort of arenas, people can really react badly to the concept of, creating it on the go. So what you've explained there is our create on the go process where, you get sales in place without even knowing what you're delivering, and the advantage of that is that now you are getting cash flow in, right? It's a completely different mind shift. I would say 99% of most coaches or consultants online, any trainers, would never think of this. But
No,
if you,
not at all.
yeah, it's that, so you're taking them on board, you're getting cash flow in, you're going to design the program with them. And I just want to jump in on it because it's actually the most authentic way to do it, because you're going to create it with them. They don't know any different. They're just seeing you on this perspective of this current time frame of who you are right now. You create the program with them, they get what they get, and then you refine that so that you have an asset for the rest of your life. And that's what we call selling before you create, so that you actually validate. So like, really proud of you for taking that on board. What do you think, if you were to siphon the a belief into, like, belief before to belief where it is now, of what you think is possible for yourself because of that, like, what would you say, or how would you interpret that?
before I started
Before
working
you
with you?
started to where you are now, like an ability to move action with that sort of thinking? Because so, most people would never put themselves in the situation. Most people would never then sell it. So it's difficult to like refine exactly because you're seeing so many people do it. You're a part of that process. It becomes natural to think like that, so you forget that it wasn't what you used to do,
Mhm.
right? And so I'm trying to think like what would be the belief that
Well,
you
it's a
would.
certain level of confidence now
Yeah.
because I've tried and tested myself. I am confident in the skills that I have, in the training that I have, in the education that I have, and the results I've provided. And I am actually taking that confidence and believing it for myself
Mm.
because I'm always that, is it okay? Did I do it right? Does it look good? Are they happy? My husband's my feedback. He's like, she lost 20 pounds in 13 inches. What do you think? It's like, but I don't know. She might still want to do more. so, but now though, I feel really confident and that's what I'm selling, my confidence in my skill to be able to do what I need to do.
Makes sense. Confidence comes from competence, knowing knowing how to do it, when to do it, and what to deliver. So that's awesome. Look, so one of the best things, like I know it took some time to set up, but the automated
Yeah.
lead capture is now, where is that at for you?
It's working well. I stopped looking at it 2 weeks ago and I have 53 leads that have filled
Nice.
out survey forms. So now I
Beautiful.
have to go back and get in touch with them. I tried to hire a VA, but she didn't do anything. So I just got
Nice.
to do it
So
myself.
so you now have too many leads.
Well, no, it could never be too many
No,
because
but you do because you had to turn off your ads. That's what that is. You had most people won't ever get to that point though, does he? And that's what I mean. When you're like the messaging that we had to steer so that that would happen was try, test and measure, test and measure, test and measure. And so you're now at a space where you genuinely have to turn it off because you can't facilitate all the demand.
And I would never believed that line before. My first online coach told me, there's a system where you can go Facebook to give you so many leads that you'll have to turn it off because you have too many. It's like, I'm like, what kind of bull
Yeah.
crap is that? Is he talking about? There's no such thing. And then following what how you set it up and everything, I was like, wow, this is true. I can't
That
keep getting more leads. I can't get in touch with them fast enough.
I can't even stress how much that makes me happy to hear, because it does, like, it's frustrating. It can be people will put something out and then never test it today or measure it, or they don't have a facility to ask someone else what is happening. And so most people that have gone down that route have done it maybe once or twice and they never think to actually adjust
I
the
kept
actual.
tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and changing the
Beautiful.
picture and adding a couple of words and changing the form. And so, yeah.
Beautiful. That's amazing. That makes me so happy. What would you say to someone that was on the edge of joining clients automation? They were hesitant, maybe. Like, did you have any doubts about joining at the beginning? Were there anything that stopped you specifically?
The only doubt was because I had previously been burned and I paid $2,000 to someone who gave me a sheet of paper and told me, I'll talk with you in a month. And I
That was
realized,
it.
yeah. I said, oh my
What was on
gosh.
the sheet of paper? The
It was
magic
all,
sheet.
yeah, it was a magic sheet saying you have to come up with an acronym for your system. Then once you come up for an acronym for your system, then you have to write out all the what each letter is going to do. And it was just BS. So I did get my refund though, but then I knew I needed to get in touch with someone who was working on a larger scale than me, who could think bigger than me. And the 10,000, well, I forgot how much it was I paid for it, but the investment that I made in you was the biggest investment I made so far. But I've been continuing to invest little by little in training and coaching and so forth. So, when I saw the opportunity, I was like, okay, let me get my credit card, put it down. Can I have payments, please? Because I can't do this right now. So that was just getting ripped off and not getting results was my biggest hesitation.
Appreciate that. And look, that is something that a lot of people have done. What would you say to that though? Because, you know, I've been there too. I paid for stuff, it wasn't quite what I expected. We have to look for the good in that. It compounds on your ability to know what is good and what isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, and you'll get this with your clients too, they've bought stuff, it hasn't been delivered, or etc. etc. And so, you know, like what would you say to someone that was hesitant of joining? Like you know, we hear that day in, day out, and then we get, you know, that's why we put so much support in. We're continually making it better however we can, so that people know that we are here, you know, that we are here, we're not going anywhere. we're, we're like, I'm consistently there every single week, day in, day out, twice a
Mm-hmm.
week, you
Mm-hmm.
know, everyone gets their question answered regardless, you know. But like, what would you say to someone that was hesitant about joining, that was on the edge?
I would say in order to get a different result, you're going to have to do something different. And you're going to have to take a big leap of faith. And that's all to it.
Do you think it's a leap of faith though? Like, I agree with you, but like and sometimes I really struggle with trying to remember what that was like, because it makes total sense for me today. If I can't do something, I don't tell anyone to do something I won't do. If I take a new platform on board, I've, you know, for example, I've tested out a range of different platforms this year, and we're getting different sort of lead flow, and we're testing it. I already spent, I mean, I must be at 35K already hiring other people to teach me how to do it. Could I figure it out? Yeah, of course I could. Is it going to be faster if I pay someone else? Of course it is. And so, and these people are, you know, in this particular platform, they're all younger than me. They've all got a smaller business. It doesn't matter about that. They've got a different viewpoint. And so I sometimes think like you're 100% right, right? You gotta look at it from a different angle. You gotta, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're just get the same result. I, you know, 100% get that. I don't know if it's a leap of faith.
Well, I mean, it has to be. Well, not just that though, but you've got to be willing to invest in yourself
So why aren't people unwilling to, from your perspective?
because they haven't felt enough pain.
Hmm.
They haven't gotten to the point where it's uncomfortable enough to make that change that has to happen, which is what happens with my clients.
Hmm.
If they're still comfortable sitting in where they are, they're not going to, no matter how high or low the prices, get involved. When you get sick and tired enough of being sick and tired, then you go and
Yeah,
do what you
like
have to do.
that. Right. That being said, look, that's, you know, I really appreciate you put in the effort. You know, it doesn't work without amazing people like you, and you're easy to coach. Yeah, we had some ups and downs, but it is
Oh
what
my
it is.
gosh.
But
I
it
wanted
only
to quit
brought us
so many
closer.
times.
That being said, I really appreciate you putting all the effort in, and let's get, like, really proud of you, really excited for your next steps, because when you start seeing that, and let's get your next steps sorted now. So look, is there any specific questions that you have for me? And let's get down to them.